Hey guys, the last video was few days delay because of the game jam. Yeah, I participated in my very first game jam just after my first game. So here is all my experience and journey of the first game jam that I have participated in. If you haven't watched my last video yet, then I recommend you to watch that video to know about my very first experience and problems that I had faced in my game. Beside all this stuff, I found a game jam which was started 3 days ago and last for 3 days more. So I decided to participate in that game jam. The theme of the game jam was clone. First year at first I started to make some basic concept for this game. Since this was my first time and I don't have much knowledge about this also I decided to get some help from my friends. So I asked some of my friends. Later that night one of my friends suggested a simple concept that I liked and asked him to explain that concept a bit more. He explained me as some enemies had kidnapped a player's friend and player should save his friends from these enemies and player must have x number of friends at the end of the level to complete that level. However, it's not related to the theme of the game jam clone, but I had loved the concept and decided to make a game on that concept. But for sure, I should have to make a bit of changes in that concept. Finally, after some time, I confirmed the theme with a bit of changes that players should begin with zero number of clones and be safe from the enemies and toss some special objects to make its clone who would follow him and player must have x number of clones at the end of the level to complete the level. I think I had a great concept, but since I am a newbie, so I haven't yet learned much about graphics and animation, so I decided to use simple geometrical shapes instead of them. And if I got extra time, then I might replace those shapes with real objects in with graphic. With this thought, I created my first project in Unity. I set up simple environment with some game object, then decided to write code. I got the largest problem of this project at the beginning of my project, since I had learned to just move a single player at the same time with a single script. But in this concept, I had to make clones to follow the main player, and if player died, one of the clones should take the place of player, and game must go on until there is at least one player in the game. Then guess what I did? I exactly searched the same thing in YouTube and Google for this problem, but I did not found any tutorial, so I was a bit hopeless at first. But I can't go for another concept because I had already wasted my one day just to make that concept for this game. So I take a small break and later I searched how to reference multiple game objects in a single script. Fortunately, I found a tutorial and I followed the tutorial, and after that tutorial I got idea to make multiple game objects to follow the player. So fortunately, I can continue my journey. And after a bit of more research and after some trial and error, I managed to make clones to take player's place when player died. However, it was showing some errors, but it was working. Later, I managed to give red color for the player and sky blue for its clones. That day was over till doing this all. Now only one day was left and I thought I had much time, so I decided to use some human or cartoon like object instead of those boring shapes. So at first, since the game was 3D, so I installed Blender and its tutorial. Later I found Blender very hard to understand in few hours, and I found Mixamo where we can get free animated 3D characters for Unity. I downloaded tutorial for importing those things in Unity, but till afternoon I knew that I could not complete my project if I wasted my time in that. So I deleted all those assets and went back to those boring shapes. Then I decided to add some audio, so I researched for audio tutorial for Unity and apply it in my game. After this all, I had only 5 hours left to submit my game. Then I quickly designed very simple levels and some script to control graphics and to check number of clones to show as score and level failed or a complete checker as well. So after this all, I finished my game just 2 hours before the deadline. Since it was my first time to submit that game in game jam, so it took me nearly about 1 hour to submit my game. So after submission, I recognized that I haven't yet tested my game, but it was too late for that all. After submission, I played that game and found some bugs and tried to fix them. It took nearly 2 hours to fix them, and I thought if I had thought to submit my game after fixing the bugs, I would not be able to submit my game. After that fixing bug, I made a bit of changes and shared that game in my friend circle next day. So if you found this video interesting, then hit that like button, or if you don't, then hit that dislike, and I would be glad to read your suggestion in the comment box below. So I'm Kas, and see you soon in next one.